Grace and peace to you. Welcome to Morning Watch. I'm Rob, one of the pastors here at White Plains.
I'm V.
Glad to have you with us today on a Friday. Hopefully, all internet issues are fixed. Yesterday was like,
It was like, what?
like that.
Yeah.
Glitchy. But AT&T has been out. The fiber line is fixed, so all should be well. Good morning, Florida. Thanks, y'all, for bearing with us, or bearing with me yesterday. Well, this is where we gather for a song and a thought for the day, so glad you're with us whenever you're joining. Let's start our time together by going to God in prayer. Meet me, O Christ, in this stillness of morning. Move me, O Spirit, to quiet my heart. Mend me, O Father, from yesterday's harms. From the discords of yesterday, resurrect my peace. From the discouragement of yesterday, resurrect my hope. From the weariness of yesterday, resurrect my strength. And from the doubts of yesterday, resurrect my faith. From the wounds of yesterday, resurrect my love. And let me enter this new day, aware of my need and awake to your grace, O Lord. Amen and amen. V is good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, hopefully. Although, as we'll talk about today, I have some thoughts on luck.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, although.
No.
I mean, I do have the thing about ladybugs.
Yes,
And
that's
ladybugs
right.
are a symbol of good luck in several cultures.
That's right. Morning, Robin. Morning, Faye. This is the air I breathe. This is the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me. This is my daily bread. This is my daily bread. Your very word spoken to me. I'm desperate for you. I'm lost without you. This is the air I breathe. This is the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me. This is my daily bread. This is my daily bread. Your very word spoken to me, and I'm lost without you. I'm desperate for you. I'm lost without you. I'm desperate for you. This is the air I breathe.
That is not
Little
what.
little tag there at the
Yeah,
end.
that's not typically what we do, but okay.
The when you go into that part where it goes I'm lost without you. I'm desperate for you. Jesus save the silent over lies. Yeah. Okay, we won't do that today.
Surprise,
But-
surprise! The chords on
On a praise song.
Contemporary.
Yeah, that's right. What we're gonna do every song we've ever done? Some song in G. Okay. Yeah. So yesterday we had a little glitch with our internet, and I tried to use my mobile hotspot
Yes, a little glitch.
now we know that doesn't work. So it was sort of an experiment. I'll try this experiment to
Whatever you
see
wanna
if we
tell
could
yourself.
to see if we could broadcast Morning Watch through a mobile hotspot. And what we found out was no, we cannot. Not with any effectiveness.
Yeah.
So what do you think about trying experiments and seeing if they work? This is not a trick question.
I was like, what?
Not a trick question. What do you?
It feels like a
sometimes-
trick question.
Yes.
The way
I
that
get
you
that.
asked
'Cause
it
the way-
and the
yes,
tone that you asked it in,
Fair.
that feels like a trick
Fair.
question.
Fair. What do you think about experimenting? With just trying something, seeing if it works. You ever do that artistically?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I wonder if these two colors work. Oh no, they do not.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they do. But then other times, oh no, they do not.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of your prayer life as an experiment?
No, not really.
Yeah, that's fair. So we've been reading this little book called Spiritual Classics, which is going through on the spiritual disciplines and giving different examples of writing on them. Like we went through meditation for a while, now we're on prayer. And I want you to listen to this one today about Agnes Sanford. I may go back and do the one that we did yesterday. Well, you guys can tell me in the comments if it would be helpful to do that one again. Thanks, Emma. Thank you. Appreciate that. We love it too. Or I do, anyway.
Yeah. What was that supposed to mean?
Well, I don't know. I just thought you might just be here for the food.
Two things can be true at once.
You guys will have to let me know if you want to hear the devotion that we tried to do yesterday on Andre Louf. Basically, I really enjoyed it because he compared prayer to a man playing or an individual playing an instrument. That the strings of the instrument are the strings of our heart, and the plectrum, the pick, is the Word of God.
Mm-hmm.
And that when we act upon our heart with the Word and we practice it and learn it, anyway, that was useful to me. But today we're going to read about Agnes Sanford. Agnes Sanford lived from 1897 to 1982. Born in China as the daughter of a Presbyterian missionary and lived for years in New Jersey as the wife of an Episcopalian priest. Her approach to healing through prayer has been uncomplicated and very confident of God's loving power to heal. She does not concern herself with complex questions of creed, denomination, or belief structure. Her approach is Christ-centered and church-centered. She is taught widely in many settings and has been the instrument of many healings. And her books on healing prayer have sold in the millions around the English-speaking world. In the following section, taken from her much-loved book, The Healing Light, Notice how Agnes Stanford concentrates on the practicality of prayer. Her recommendations are not ethereal and fanciful, but exceedingly down to earth. And when she recommends that we conduct experiments
Mm-hmm.
in prayer, she's not suggesting that we put God to the test. Instead, she wants us to put our own wavering faith to the test. She knows that we are afraid to petition God for specific things because we are afraid of being disappointed. Therefore, she gently guides us through an orderly process that requires us, at least for the moment, to have faith through an and to exercise that faith in a disciplined way. At the same time, her approach is wonderfully childlike. Follow her as she follows Jesus in the experience of healing prayer. Okay, Agnes Stanford writes this. The one who knew said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." And so happy are the people who know that their spiritual power is small, that their creeds are imperfect, and their instruction concerning God and humankind is incomplete. Happy are those who know that they do not know all of the truth, for only those who admit their spiritual poverty are willing to learn. Okay, first of all, we can just stop right there because how many people are you really nervous about who think they know it all?
Yeah.
Right? Like the religious person of any faith or creed who is so certain in their faith and sure that they know it all and they have every question answered. That's the person I kind of take a step back from. It's the very she's saying that when you say blessed are the poor in spirit, it's the very people who know that their faith is incomplete and that they don't understand the mystery
Mm-hmm.
of God who are blessed. I thought that was interesting in itself.
Sorry.
She goes on, one way to understand this unexplored force of nature, talking about healing, is to experiment with that force intelligently and with an open mind. This book suggests for those willing to learn a method that is so childlike as the more profound truths are apt to be. It is an experimental method. One decides upon a definite subject for prayer, prays about it, and then decides whether or not the prayer project succeeds. If it does not succeed, one seeks a better adjustment with God and tries again. So I'm not going to read the whole thing here, but I'm going to summarize real quick to say that she basically talks about asking God for something and seeing what happens. And here's the key, because to me that does sound like putting God to the test, or it almost sounds like a prosperity gospel where you say, "Oh Lord, bless us," like that. But her contention is, if she likens it to a lamp, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you were to go to turn on a lamp and it didn't come on, right? You would not say, "Oh, electricity must not exist,"
Mm-hmm.
right? You would say there's something wrong with this lamp. Maybe it
Yeah.
needs a new bulb. Maybe our power is out, right? Like the internet didn't stop yesterday
Yeah.
just because we lost contact with it. The problem was on our end. So what she's saying is that when these experiments with God don't work, let's say you pray for a new car and you don't get a new car. The problem wasn't with God, the problem was with your asking.
Mm-hmm.
You were asking something that was not in the will of God. If you ask for an extraordinary healing, as her gifts are around healing, and it doesn't come, that that one wasn't in God. That wasn't in God's will. If you ask for it and it does come, maybe that was in God's will. But we shouldn't be. Her point is we should not be afraid to ask. Just because the answer isn't always yes, we shouldn't be afraid to ask and ask specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. I'm a little. That's not my normal thought process
Yeah,
when it comes to prayer.
I understand the framework. I disagree with the especially with the if you ask for a healing and it doesn't
that wasn't God's
That,
will.
yeah,
Yeah,
really
I probably
disagree
didn't
with
say that. Well, so she doesn't say that. Okay, let me just read this a little bit.
Sorry.
Let us understand that after she makes the comparison about the lamp,
Yeah.
that if we turn off the, that there's no, we would not say there's no electricity. She says, let us understand then that if our experiment fails, it is not due to a lack in God, but to a natural and understandable lack in ourselves. What scientist would be discouraged if his first experiment failed? Since we intend, with God's help, to heal our shortcomings, to repair our wiring, we need not fear to test his power by prayer. So she says, how strange it is that people who fear to do this, to ask for specific things, do not hesitate to pray for the most difficult objectives of all, such as peace for the world or the salvation of their souls. But if they have so little confidence in prayer that they do not dare to test the power of prayer, contacting God by praying for an easy thing, it is probable that the cosmic intercessions are of little force. If everyone who prayed for the peace of the world had enough prayer power to accomplish the healing of a head cold, this would be a different world within 24 hours. Yeah. Yeah, it's a problem because we're not used to the we say there's power in prayer.
Yeah.
But we think the power is to change ourselves. We don't actually think that that God is out there granting boons through.
Yeah, I just
through
typically
power, through
don't.
prayer. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because I mean, I also hesitate to say that because it's kind of it. It feels a bit like victim blaming.
Yeah, well, you weren't
like,
praying well enough.
Yeah, because I know
like
that.
Yeah.
I know that.
There's a lot of harm that can be done by that.
There's a lot. Like I heard.
Yep.
Like I know that Granny heard that whenever like about Papal.
Yeah.
That whenever he had cancer, was that like, oh, like you must not be praying hard enough.
Yeah.
Or like, because that is a weapon that is used constantly.
Yeah, I'd like to see a debate between Agnes Sanford and Kate Bowler.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason, and other lies I've loved.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't like I really don't like the idea that like the everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, I got it. Me either.
Like,
no, absolutely not. However, I
agree with the basic principle, which is that like you shouldn't be afraid to ask, and that, like, and that like.
But there's not something wrong with you.
Yes.
If God doesn't grant.
Yes, that's what I disagree with.
Yeah, it's. I think as long as you keep it in those childlike terms, I mean, it's scriptural that you do not gain because you do not ask.
Yeah.
I mean that Jesus says that.
Yeah, I mean, and that is true. You have to ask for things. Like if you don't ask for something, how are people going to know that you want something,
Right.
Like that is very true. I just disagree. The part that I disagree with is that if it doesn't work, then there's something wrong with the way that you did it or with you.
Right.
Or that just simply because I disagree with that.
So here's what I think. I think that this lady had a very specific gift. I believe that she probably had this gift of healing. And I have experienced... I'm reading...
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Kristen. Kristen says people shouldn't feel that their prayer is defective in some way because it didn't turn out the way they had hoped. Yeah. Right. And that's the danger in this type of writing. But so Richard Foster, in his reflections on this, talks about how human and down to earth Agnes was. He said, more than once I saw Agnes Sanford, he knew her. More than once I saw her praying with great intensity and power one moment and then laughing at a joke the next. Such experiences freed me to be at home with God, and I believe it will do the same for you. So I think this person has a gift, and she is trying to explain it
Yeah.
to us in the best way that she can. I mean, I knew a young man whose friends used to take him to hospitals and put him in front of people because they were convinced that he had this gift of healing, and things happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I, without going too deep into the story, I even experienced something personally with him where I had an injury. You've heard me talk about the calf injury, where I had an injury, and this cop, unbeknownst to me, and not really on my asking, because I was like, no, I'm good, but did pray for me, and that pain went away. That person went on and is now currently a doctor, right? And we had conversations about that later, and he's like, I don't know what do what was that about when I was younger and would heal people and stuff like that. I like, dude, you are a doctor. You went on to be you have a gift of healing. You're using it now with all the skills of a surgeon. I mean, yeah. So I've experienced that personally. Things that you can't explain.
Yeah.
People having these, supernatural gifts. I think she has that. And I think she's trying to explain how it works for her.
Yeah.
That same, like you just said earlier, two things can be true at once.
Yeah.
That same pattern of asking and testing that works for her, if you were trying to lecture that to someone who's not on that path, could be harmful.
Yeah.
So it's just something that you have to.
Yeah.
In the end, I'm kind of comfortable most with the idea of experimenting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just as long as you understand that it doesn't mean there's something wrong with God or with you.
Yeah.
If the experiment doesn't work. But we should try prayer. We should try different methods of prayer.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
I just, my biggest gripe was with the, if you pray for something, then there's something.
Right.
Especially with the, oh, well, if everybody,
Oh, yeah, because that's has caused so much harm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Also the thing about, oh, if everybody prayed about world peace, then it would...
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not how that works.
Yeah. But when she's having this experience, this miraculous experience,
I understand that it can feel that, especially if you have that gift and it does work that way for you.
Right.
I can understand that. I just...
Well, and that's part of the point of this book, is to see all these different perspectives on these things.
I just have seen how that can be misused.
Yeah.
And as a weapon, in a way of oh, you're not praying hard enough, that's all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I hope it's helpful for you. If you're interested more in Agnes Stanford, there's a lot of information out there about her. Sanford. Yes.
You keep saying Stanford.
Stanford. It's because it's Kenny Ann Stanford at church.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Ann is our contemporary worship leader. But, okay, Sanford, like the town.
Yeah, like where Mom is.
All right.
Sorry.
That's okay. All right. Y'all take care. Thanks for being here. May you find peace and purpose in this day. I will see you on Tuesday. Remember, Tuesday through Friday now for Morning Watch. And have a wonderful weekend. Hope we see you in church as we continue to work our way through Brene Brown's book, The Gifts of Imperfection. Our sermon series, Wholehearted, is based on that book. And Kelly Lynn is doing Kenny Ann Sanford. is doing a great job in preaching her way through that. So I'm sure we'll see you at some point this weekend, and I'll see you again on Tuesday for another Morning One.